join us, we're going to worship the Lord. The front is open if you want to come forward. So I was thinking this week as I was getting ready, and I don't know about you, but it's really easy to come in on a Sunday morning and just have all the things going through your head, right? Of all the things you need to do, all the stuff you have to do after church, all the things you have to do during the week. And sometimes it's hard to just really shift that gear. So I thought we would do something a little bit different this morning as we start. I want everybody just kind of put your hands out like this and just take a real deep breath and breathe out and let everything go, because it doesn't matter for the next 90 minutes. Just let it go and breathe in again and just breathe out. And I want you to just take the next 30 seconds in your own language, your own words, and just begin to give the Lord thanks for what he's done for you this week. And so, Father, right now, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for the progress on our house. Father, we thank you for all the things that you're doing in our lives. Father, I thank you for my marriage. I thank you for my friends. I thank you for the blood of Jesus. Yes, Jesus. Father, we thank you that you're here this morning. Stripes, we are healed. By his nail-pierced hands, is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great is our God. Great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great is our God. Splendor of Lord and majesty, let all the earth rejoice. He wraps himself in light. Darkness tries to hide. Trembles at the voice. Trembles at the Great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how age to age he stands. Time is in his hand. The Godhead three in one. Father, Spirit, Son, Lion and Lamb, Lion and Lamb. Great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great is our God. Great is our God. Sing with me, how great is our God. Oh, we'll see how great is our God. Be lifted higher. Be lifted up. Be lifted higher. Be lifted up. Be lifted higher. Be lifted up. Be lifted higher. I sing praises to your name. Praises to your name. lifted higher. Jealous for me. His portion. Won't you dance with me, oh lover of my soul, to the song of all songs. Won't you dance with me, oh lover of
Thanks, guys. Go ahead, take a seat. Good morning, Water's Edge. How are we doing today? Can you guys hear me? I'm not sure if my mic is on or not. We'll get it on in just a second. I got a few announcements for you guys, and then we're going to keep going. After church today at 1 o'clock, we're going to meet at Clark Lambros Beach for at least one baptism. Right, Brandon? Brandon's going in the water. If we have anybody else that is like, hey, I want to get baptized today, I know there's some people that have been considering it, weighing it. I'll be there. The water will be there. God will be there. It'll be fun. So come join us there. August 31st, so in 2 Sundays, we're going to have a welcome back to school grill out here in the parking lot. I'm going to orange cone section off the basketball hoop, gaga ball pit area over there. And there we go. Now you guys can hear me. So I'm going to orange cone that off. Those that have mobility and come here regularly, there is a parking lot kitty corner from us. If you could join me in parking over there so that new college students have more space in this area, because afterwards we're just going to go and play, and that way also you don't have to worry about kids running around. So that's in 2 weeks. We'll provide brats and hamburgers and buns, that sort of thing. If you guys want to bring a side to share, we're going to come and hang out. If you are new, this is a great time for you to meet somebody. If you are not new, it's a great time for you to meet somebody new. We'll have a bunch of college students probably checking out the church for the first time, so make them feel at home. Today, we're going to have a special guest, Yvonne. We're going to talk with her in just a minute. She is a missionary from Cambodia, so she came all the way from Cambodia. She's in the area. She was meeting with Woodlands Church, a good friend of mine, Jeff Woodward. He was talking with her. They're considering, hey, how do we support and encourage her? And they're having their picnic day, so we are honored that they're in Big Bay. They're like, well, hey, are you interested in having a missionary? And he's like, yeah, it's kind of my heart, so bring her in, right? So today is the day we're going to have a little conversation with her, just to hear a little bit about her heart, the ministry that she's got going on over there. If today you're moved and you say, man, I want to support what God is doing, there's 2 great ways to do that. One is pray for her. So afterwards, when we break up into groups to pray, come and pray with her. Pray over her, pray for her ministry. I'm sure she's going to give you her information that you can stay in contact to continue to pray for her. The second way is financially. So if you want to sow financially into the kingdom and what she's doing at the ministry, go ahead and just tab that in your offering today for either Caring Companions or Yvette, and we'll make sure that gets to her, okay? Joy, can we start off with a little video, and then we'll go from that. I'm going to hand you mic number 2. You guys want to throw that on? I'm going to ask Yvette some questions. Come on over. Yvonne, what's your name? Whew, Yvonne, we'll get there.
To be fair, we've only talked for about 25 minutes.
We've talked about 25 minutes. The good news is they'll give me grace, I hope. Okay, Yvonne.
Yes.
How long have you been in Cambodia?
I have been living in Cambodia for 15 years.
15 years.
Yes.
And how long have you been doing Caring Companions?
5.5 years this month.
And you're the one who started it?
Yes.
So what was the motive, the desire to start Caring Companions?
Yeah, so I grew up with a disability. I'm legally blind. And I always knew that people with disabilities in Cambodia were treated differently than people without disabilities, as happens in the States as well. But I began to learn about some of the really harsh realities that families literally hide their family member with a disability away in back rooms. There's a lot of shame. And if a child is born with a physical defect, there are very high chances that they are abandoned at the hospital to die. And this is what really broke my heart in the very beginning. And I was like, Lord, what can we do about this? And then from there, really wanting to help people who still have life and have a disability in Cambodia to find the best quality of life that's available for them through Jesus. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. I love that. Can you tell me a little bit about the Khmer Rouge, Pol Pot, the killing fields from like 50 years ago?
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit. So, Cambodia has a really difficult history and a really hard past. In 1975, there was a civil war that broke out in Cambodia, and the Khmer Rouge, which was one political party, came through and they strategically killed through starvation or hard labor or just brutal death. They killed 1/3 of the population of their own country. And so over 1 million are estimated to have been killed between 1975 and 1979. And it was very strategic in terms of they wanted to start from ground zero and build a brand new society. And so anyone who had education was strategically found and killed. If you could speak a second language, if you wore glasses, it meant you could read, you were killed. If you had a watch, it meant you could tell time, you were killed. And so since 1979, the country has been rebuilding from ground up. And so that means that they are still lagging in a lot of systematic things, such as education, which is why Cambodians who have disabilities aren't allowed to go to school. There are just beginning to be schools for those who have autism, but they're for the very wealthy. But if you have cerebral palsy or if you have another form of disability that doesn't affect your intellectual ability, but it affects your physical mobility, schools will not accept you to learn. And it just has to do with the fact that their education system is still so far behind where it could have been because they're still building from ground up.
Yeah, and it sounds like a lot of what you do is working with people that are physical or emotional or cognitive delays, developments, difficulties. In America, we have a lot of specialists that are either physical therapists or occupational therapists. Where is the country at specifically in Cambodia in regards to that?
Yeah, great question. So physical therapy is just started to become a major that people could learn in university less than 10 years ago. And speech therapy less than 5 years ago. Occupational therapy is still not a field of study in Cambodia. So as far as finding Cambodian specialists who are physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists, those are unheard of. We cannot find Cambodian, especially when you add Cambodian believers. And it's really important that we're looking for Cambodian believers because those who don't believe in Jesus believe in the reincarnation system, and they believe that those who are born with a disability or who acquire a disability later in life, right, because having a disability is something that can happen to anybody at any time. You can have a traffic accident and you have a spinal cord injury and now you have a disability. And so those who acquire disabilities or are born with them, Cambodian people who don't know Jesus, believe that that is a curse that they deserve because of something they did in their former life. And so they don't want to help because that would mean that they are helping the cursed and maybe they will also be cursed. So it's really important to find believers who also have those professional skills and are coming from a standpoint of every person has value and deserves dignity.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the biggest ways people from here can help you?
Yeah, there's three main things. One is, of course, prayer, which everybody can do. If you know Jesus, talk to him about us. Ask him to give us wisdom and ask him to put it on people's hearts to want to partner with us, Cambodians, as well as people in the States and around the world. The second thing is through financial support. We're nonprofit. The government does not have a system in Cambodia. The government does not have a social service system that helps those who have disabilities. So I grew up in the States. I was on government assistance. My mom received assistance because I was born with a disability. That does not happen in Cambodia. Financial support from the States goes a really long way in Cambodia. So that's way number 2 is financial support of carrying companions. Number 3 is think about about coming on a short-term trip. Get to know the people in Cambodia. Get to know these incredible families who we're serving who have someone with a disability, and let God really work on your heart and see what he might have for you in terms of really being invested, especially if you have any of those skills that I just mentioned, or if you know anyone, advocate for us and say, hey, there's something really cool going on in Cambodia, and they could use your skills.
It takes a lot of courage to decide to go live in a foreign country, a country that's not your own. And that's a huge thing, right? Like, so one, we heard a little bit of your story of some of the hardship that you went through as a kid, and also just the overwhelming compassion. Obviously comes through Jesus, but is there a moment of your life that you really just felt overwhelmed by his compassion towards you, where you said, I need to give this to others too?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, there's always been, because my family didn't know God, so I didn't grow up knowing God. And so there's always been, once I knew Jesus, a sense of his grace over my life. Like, I have nothing that he hasn't given me. Literally everything I have is because he's given it to me. And that in itself compels me to want other people to know that he has everything they could possibly need and more. Yeah.
Is there anything else that we need to know today, right now?
Yeah, you can know that there are people in Cambodia who are praying for you right now. My staff, we have 5 Cambodian staff who I work with, and they are all praying for you right now. And I'm super grateful for the opportunity to get to share with you about what God's doing in Cambodia for people who have disabilities. Thank you so much for letting me stand here for a few minutes and share this with you.
Thank you so much. I encourage you after the service, go ahead and come on over and ask her whatever personal questions you have, and get to know her a little bit more and the ministry. Yeah. Thank you, Yvonne. I want to talk a little bit about Cambodia too before we really jump into Matthew 5. I guess it's all kind of related. No, it is all related. When I went to Cambodia, it was, a long time ago now, about 15 years ago. And I love Phnom Penh. There's like a beauty that's there, and there's almost an innocence to the culture, and yet there's that cloud of shame that she was talking about, because the people that are pretty much anybody older than me lived through that whole genocide. And think about, not only were they killing anybody who's educated, elite, has glasses, all of that stuff, they were intentionally separating families and trying to break up the family unit to just have workers that would, hey, you do the farming, you get in line, you do this thing. Kind of like what our impression would be of like North Korea. Like, it's pretty harsh stuff. I heard some stories that were just mind-boggling of the goodness of God in the midst of it. And yet, there was this shame that like is pervasive in the culture where the old people that had gone through it, you don't talk about it. You save face. You don't talk about anything that's super hard. So there's this trauma that happened collectively in the country that they don't really talk about, which multiplies that whole feeling of, hey, if you have any kind of curse or disability, we're not going to talk about it, and we're going to shun you. You're going to be the least of these. Like, there is no hope for you, and if I engage my life with you, there's no hope for me too, right? You're putting your future selves in their mind at risk to even, like, love somebody, to give a cup of water to somebody, to, smile at somebody that's got a disability. It's pretty significant. The city itself is a pretty significant city, pretty big city. It's built on a hill, although it doesn't feel like a hill. And they built up some spots where they put their big, their temple. And so they've got a temple that's there that's kind of like the center, the capstone of the area, and it's not Christianity. There's a lot of good people that don't know Jesus, that don't know hope, that don't have light. And it's one of those things where you go in there, like one of the things I ended up doing is I was helping teach English. And man, it was funny. My first lesson I was going to be like the meaning of names. And it's like, my name means Benjamin, son of my right hand. It's an inheritance name. And we walked through all the English names of all of our group. And we sat down with this group and we're like, okay, we're going to do this thing all on names. And the first one was like, yeah, my name is Boat. Like both? Like two? No, boat. Like a boat. Yeah, I was like, okay, all right. What's your name? Mom. Okay. What's your name? Gun. Okay, so now the meaning of gun and mom and boat. What about yours? Long D. Okay, scrapping this lesson plan. Like, I got nothing here. Like, we can't go into the depth of name meanings, right? So we started doing other stuff. But you kind of break the ice of, you realize, even if I don't speak their language and they don't speak my language, that's when you start realizing, oh, wait a second. As Americans, we like to extend our hand. We like to have pity on people. But to actually engage with somebody and engage your heart, it just drops down all of those barriers where you don't have to speak the same language. Man, the laughter of a child, man, it unites, right? There's something where if you connect, with your eyes, with your body language, if you actually just love somebody, man, it just shifts things. Our groups that have gone to Puerto Rico and Costa Rica, and you've kind of tasted of some of those things. You guys have an understanding of what I'm talking about. Right? Rob, we got one over there, and you got who couldn't speak at all. Messed with our hearts, didn't he? Right? There's these times where you have these just intimate moments. And unfortunately, the people that are there that have disabilities live a life without intimate moments. Think about the sadness of that, the grief of not having an intimate moment with somebody because everybody, including your family, has said, you're out. Right? We've been talking in Matthew about the mamzers, right? The ones that were the social outcasts that the Jews are like, oh, you don't have the right this, the right that, the right education, the right bloodline, the right mom and dad. Oh, you got too much of a mess. If you can't make it into the temple, you have no chance of being in the presence of God. Right? And Matthew is saying, as a mamzer, actually, I was the social outcast, but he came to me, and he pursued me. And the beautiful thing is, as you go through the Beatitudes, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, right? You've heard a story. She is an example of somebody that has gone through that fire, right? And she might be legally blind, but she is seeing people that nobody in the country is seeing. Do you hear that? She can see with her spiritual eyes people that are not seen, that are not heard, that are not touched, that are not loved, that don't have an intimate connection. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful, beautiful ministry, right? And the thing is, as she looks at God, God is reflecting through her, and she's being able to love these people in a way that she built a ministry, but the ministry is really building a community, and the community is really building the family of God, right? So that's the transition of what she's doing, and it's a beautiful thing. And it's heavy. I mean, when I'm talking about, I've been to some places. I've been to some of the internment camps, the killing camps over in Germany. I've been, I've been some spots where you're not supposed to go. I can't even say it out loud right now because we're being filmed. So, and one of the places that I've been is the killing fields, which I am allowed to talk about. And here, if you see, there's skulls upon skulls upon skulls upon skulls. There was a different kind of weight when I was in Phnom Penh, when I was in Cambodia, than even when I was in Germany. There was a different kind of heaviness that was there. And it's a different kind of reality when you can walk the grounds and see the trees where people were literally killed, down to children, and you look in the ground are their clothes still. You can literally pick up the clothes that are half in the mud. And it's just this awareness of man, I was born in 1984, and it felt I'd heard of the Khmer Rouge and Pol Pot, but that for me felt ages ago, right? And you realize, that was only 5 years before I was born. That wasn't long, right? I had met when I was in Cambodia a guy that he was one of the top generals under Pol Pot, that God got a hold of him, and he left, and then God sent him back. And there's some really incredible stories. Come ask me later. That's your bait, because I don't have time. One of the things that I talked about a couple weeks ago was being in the trash. You guys remember when I was talking about that? That was when I was in Phnom Penh. This right here is a picture of one of the trash dumps. that when I was there 15 years ago, you had people that were living in the trash, picking out plastic for next to no money at all, that they were just there. I was talking about how you can see that tractor up there, and he would just be pushing the next trash in. And sometimes they would run over people if they had heat exhaustion, or if they were tired, if they were sleeping, run over people, but there was no value of life. Because the least of them didn't matter. You know what? They were cursed anyways if you're living in the garbage dump. And if you're living in the garbage dump, like, we don't see you, we don't hear, there isn't even like a human life value to it. And you know what? Good luck on your next reincarnation. So it was kind of like, it blew my mind. And then I went and I spent some time like actually picking stuff with them in the trash and doing all these things. And there's this one moment where I looked over and there's these two ladies that were just sitting in the trash, and they were doing something with their hands. And I walked up closer, and they had found some nail polish in the middle of the trash, and they were doing their nails. And it hit me at like such a deep level of like, you know what? The value of like just them feeling beautiful in the middle of this garbage that I hadn't considered, because I was still walking in this thing of feeling some level of shame, comparison, pity, because that's what we do as Americans. We're like, whoa, I'm glad I'm not like this situation, right? And then I was in the midst of it, and I was like, oh, God, please start bringing them houses. I was looking at last night, some of that area, and like, praise be to God, there's a ton of housing that they've made for those people. And, I don't know who was spurring it on, but I know that one of the ministers that I was working with that had said, you know what, I'm just going to live with these people and find ways to love them and, like, add value and, like, bring education. I'm sure that they were involved in that process. Matthew 5, last week we looked at you are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. We talked about how there's even goodness in being thrown out in that culture. Like, we use salt here in the middle of the winter so that we can make a safe path. There they would throw the sand that was mixed with the dirt and the junk, and they would throw it on the walking path between cities, and it actually would kill all the vegetation so you would have a nice path. So there was a goodness to even the salt that had essentially been mixed with all the junk. But was that the purpose of the salt? No, it wasn't living its purpose, right? And we talked about how, it is a possibility that you can make salt salty again because its essence is salt. That's one of the things that happens about salt is it stays salt forever. But in order to do it, you have to literally immerse it in pure water. And then after you immerse it, then you have to sift out all of the impurities, right? And then when the water ascends, it leaves the pure salt behind. Last week we talked a little bit about how that's with Jesus too, right? If we want to get to the essence of our image being made in his image, right? The beauty that God has created us for, the divine spark that he put inside of us, we have to be willing to be immersed in his living water, right? It dissolves us, and then what he does is he filters our junk, and he leaves it behind. And then he ascends and says, hey, I'm going to leave you here as pure salt. Now go and be salt. We talked last week about he was saying, hey, you are the salt of the earth. You are the salt of the earth. Not you will be, not you can be, not after I take your junk and give you salt in return. He said, no, you are the salt of the earth, which is a really transformative thing because, again, with the Jewish culture, salt is tied with that covenant, right? Covenant salt, that's like the symbol of God's faithfulness forever. And for Jesus to say not only like, hey, there's a new king in town and a new kingdom, and by the way, I'm the salt, which he is the salt. But he says, actually, hey, guess what? If you only knew that you are salt, that you could go to the ends of the earth, the corner of the earth, and you could add flavor, you can preserve, you can stop moral decay, if you can protect, if you can do all these things, all the things that have a high value, you are that. You have value, right? And you've got Matthew who is talking to all the masters, all the people that have been said, hey, you don't make it into the temple, you can't make it into the presence of God. And he says, actually, guess what? Good news for you. There's a good news. The king has come to you. Jesus came to Capernaum where there was all the Gentiles. It was Capernaum of the nations, of the Gentiles. And he's doing all of these things of blessing people, and he's doing these miracles, but he's talking to the least of these and saying, basically, I see you, I always have. You carry the image of God. Blessed are you who are empty because you can be filled with his presence. It's an identity statement saying you are salt. That is your identity. You were made with goodness, right? Keep going in Matthew 5. Oh, there's some more notes. I'm going to keep moving though. You are the light of the world. Not you could be the light of the world. Not I'm going to make you the light of the world. You are the light of the world. You are the light, which is, that's a pretty mind-boggling thing for the Jews. Because, well, we'll get there in a second. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand and gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. All right, city on a hill. There's a lot of places around the world where cities are built on a hill. It was very specific to that area, but like, for instance, when we were in Brazil for Adam's wedding, what did he say? Don't go up the hills. Because the hills are where the gangs are, right? How about Guatemala? Hills are where the gangs are, right? The hill is a stronghold that either is going to hold light or darkness, okay? Now, what is special about a hill? A hill is the place where, hey, you know what? That's the place that's built up. That's where you're going to build your walls around. That's where your fortress is going to be. Because if you're at a higher elevation, you can see your enemies coming from a distance, okay? So that's where the center of the city, of the community, is going to be built around hills. So he's saying, okay, you've got that, and then you've got the walls around the hills, and those would be called casemate housing. There would be people that are like your middle class that are living in the wall, okay? So if you're rich, you're inside. If you're middle class, you're in the wall. If you're kind of poor, you're out in the fields. You see this in Phnom Penh too. The richest are in the center of the city, and then once you get out of the city gates, then it becomes this farmland. And then the further out you go, the more like destitute you are, the more lower you are in their standard. Does that make sense? So if I am poor and I'm out there and I'm a farmer and somebody's coming, where do I need to go to have safety? I got to run up the hill and hope they let me in before they close the doors, right? Otherwise, I'm a sitting duck, right? So it's one of those things where a hill could be, if you have good leadership, if you are a light, then you become a beacon. You become a safe place. You become a spot that blesses all of the little villages coming out of you. Those little villages, if you see it in the New or Old Testament, those are often called sisters or daughters. When they're talking about the sisters or the daughters of Jerusalem, they're talking about the little villages that are outside of the wall, okay? They're talking about the little villages that are around the big city that are left pretty much defenseless unless the big city says, come on in, okay? So you are light of the world. If you are at a spot where there's darkness on a hill, that is kind of like a curse to everybody around. Because if they're going to be selfish, then they're only going to be thinking about themselves. They're going to cover themselves up, and it's only about us. If they're going to be selfless and be good, then it flows out to everybody around you. Okay, so let's take a look at this. This is kind of a picture of some of the hills. If you can kind of see, the tops of the hills are the ones that are most densely populated. That's kind of what ends up happening. Okay, lamp on a stand. Actually, hold on. Let me give you some verses about city on a hill. For Jews specifically, when Jesus is talking about city on a hill, they're going to remember a number of verses. So Zion, the mountain of the Lord's house, shall be established as the highest of the mountains, and all the nations shall stream to it. So the higher the mountain, the higher the hill, the more power you have, the more you can, control that. And so he's saying, okay, the mountain of the Lord shall be established. God's name, the name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous run into it and are safe, right? You can run into his name, and he's the one that's got the gates. He's the strong tower that will protect you. Isaiah 62, if you've got time this week, take a look at the whole thing. But you have Zion is to be a blazing torch, right? A light that's going to be marked by God's delight in her. He will covenant and rejoice with you. He says to pass through the gates and prepare a highway and a banner for the what? For the nations. They were always designed to be a blessing for the nations. Now, a lot of times, every time that Israel essentially goes into captivity, it's because they start saying, hey, the world should bless us. We're the ones on the hill. We're the special ones. And God's like, that's not what I designed you for. You were designed to be a blessing, not just to receive blessing, right? And so he's saying, hey, actually, this is the way. I want you to prepare a highway and a banner for the nations, the ends of the earth. They will be called the holy people, the redeemed of the Lord. Okay, lamp on a stand. The first thing a Jew would hear when they hear a lamp on a stand is the menorah, right? So menorah looks kind of like this. This lampstand, everybody has seen this before at some level, yeah? Okay. The menorah, it symbolizes God's eternal light, his presence, okay? So a couple hundred years before all this stuff happened, that's when you had the Maccabees and when they had to go in and the temple had been desecrated and the candles they thought would have been out, and yet the candles remained, which was a huge thing for them because they said, wow, even with the desecration of the temple, God's presence didn't leave us. God's presence didn't leave us, right? And so a candle is this very sacred thing that holds the capacity of God's presence, okay? The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. That's one of those fun things that I did when I was a kid when I realized this passage. Somebody challenged me to do it, is go into my bedroom, turn the light on, then go into a closet that's dark, and then open the door. Count how many times that the light spills into the dark and how many times the closet darkness spills into the light. Guess what? Every time the light spills into darkness. It's the nature. It's the nature, it's the essence of light. Light literally makes the darkness flee. It doesn't mean that it has to even go after it. Just the presence of the lightness showing its identity makes darkness run, right? So you may become blameless and pure, children of God without a fault in a warped and crooked generation. Then you will shine like the stars in the sky, Philippians 2:15. The Bible a lot of times talks about lamps. You're going to see it a lot in like Revelation too when it talks about some of those things, the lampstands and the 7 churches and a lot of those things. But each time this candle is representing the capacity to hold the presence of God, right? We talked the last couple weeks about, hey, actually God has made us in his image. He values us. Like when he sees us, it's like when I see my children bear my resemblance, right? Now there's some days where I'm like, well, that's not of me, right? Just kidding. Usually it's of me. But they bear my resemblance. Now, if my kids were to say, you're not my dad, I'm always still going to be their dad. Like they still carry my DNA. They're stuck with it, right? There's something that God has knit inside of humanity that carries the image of God, that has the capacity to hold the image of God, right? That's part of what the Beatitudes are. Is like, hey, blessed are you. Even when you're empty, you can be filled with me. Like you have the capacity. Blessed are you who are salt because I am salt. There's a covenant of faithfulness that I have with you, and you look like the covenant. Like you're going to remind me of it, okay? Here's some more lamp on a stand. The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord, Proverbs 20:27. The spirit of man is the lamp of the Lord. Here, he's saying, you're a candle. I'm the one that lights you up, but you are a candle. You are the lamp of the Lord. Think about that for a second. You are the lamp of the Lord. Isn't that beautiful? I like it. My son, keep your father's command and do not forsake your mother's teaching. Bind them always on your heart. Fasten them around your neck. When you walk, they will guide you. When you sleep, they will watch over you. When you awake, they will speak to you. For this command is a lamp. This teaching is a light. And correction and instruction are the way to life. It's also in the Bible. I can't remember where I pulled that from. Anyway, somewhere in Proverbs or Psalms probably. But it talks again about honoring your father, honoring your mother, honoring your creator. Man, that's a lamp. That's a light. Okay? Hide it under a basket. Okay? How many people take a candle and they hide it under a basket? It says nobody. Nobody does that. If you're going to light a room, you light it so that everybody can see. Now, in our day and age, yes, most of us, we can just turn on a light switch, right? But there, it's like you light the candle and you put it in a spot where it gives the most light to the room. Okay? A basket or a bushel. Those would be measuring grain. Represents the worldly concerns of your material possessions, your economic stressors, your toil, your survival. It's basically saying don't let your light be smothered by the layers of earthly weight around you, right? Also, if you are a lamp, which it just said, you are a lamp, don't let your own lights get masked by your own ego, your fear, your shame, distractions, worldly facades, right? So if God is saying, hey, as a human, you carry a divine spark, a light that's inside of you, right? I can mask that over with my junk. Does that make sense? I can make sure that I cover over it so that people can't see God's light in me. Does that make sense? Sometimes it's through our shame, through our comparison, our guilt, our fears, our ego, all those things. The more layers that we put over it, the more the world can't see it. It's kind of like with the salt. The more you you touch of sin and the junk and the dirty stuff of life, the more that when people come in contact with you, you don't taste salty, you taste like dirt, right? Just like the salt process where he's got to get the impurities out, with light, he's got to take the things that are darkness out of you, right? And so every time you take a step closer, he's like washing another window pane and another one and another one. Because the ideal is that we keep walking closer and closer to him until his light gets magnified through us, right? Because the whole goal at the end of this is people will see your good deeds and they'll honor who? Your Father in heaven. Because they see right through you. It's not about, hey, I'm doing this so that I can get recognition, so that I can be lifted up. It's, hey, I actually want to get closer to him so that he can be seen through me. All right, let's move on. Here's a quote from Marianne Williamson. You playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightening about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. As you let your own light shine, you indirectly give others permission to do the same. Obviously, this is not from the Bible. That's why it's Marianne. But I think it really encapsulates a lot of it, right? We as Christians, sometimes, we don't want to have other people feel uncomfortable with the junk that they've got in their life. And so we dim our lights so that they don't feel bad about it. Does that make sense? Like, your goal is not to, hey, what do I need to compromise so that this person feels more comfortable in my presence? If we can be at a spot where we're living in the light, we're living in the truth, what it does is it gives them the courage and an invitation to come join us in the light. Now, that's a process to go from dark into light. That's a tough thing for people to choose to do. But if they don't have somebody doing it, they won't do it, right? If when things are tough and they're on the outside in the darkness of the city and like it's hard, they're going to get to a place where they're pressed and they say, where's a safe place for me to run? Where are they going to run to? Wherever is safe, and that's going to be the light. They're going to be drawn to the light. If you live in the light, they'll be drawn to you. Just like flies are drawn to the light. Like, God will draw people if we're living in the light, if we're living in honor and truth and respect and love. If we're going to a place where, like in Cambodia, she is loving people. She is being a light in a community that for generations, plural, has not seen the value of life, especially those that have physical ailments, cognitive ailments. Anybody that has been in that realm for generations has been discarded, hasn't been seen, has lived in the dark in shame. And her ability to walk in and be light to those people is bringing light to that community. And the more that community has light, the more it's making the people that are on the outside watching say, wait a second, if this American can value our neighbor, why can't I value our neighbor? I don't see her getting cursed. All I see is more and more people being blessed. And what you do is you take the thing that was a curse and you say, actually, I'm going to take this, I'm going to give you a blessing instead. Right? That's part of the chiasm that we were talking about with the Beatitudes, where the first half is empty. They're poor in spirit. They're hungering. They aren't filled. Right? They're demanding this righteousness. They want justice. And instead we say, okay, we're going to take that demand for justice and we're going to give you mercy. Right? We're going to take your loneliness and your mourning and we're going to bring you some peace. Hey, you who are poor in spirit, that like, hey, you're not doing great. You know, you can persecute me, but all you're going to see is the light that's in me, which is going to, like, if you're going to do that, it reveals that you're not living in the light. which is an invitation for them to consider, maybe, just maybe, I'm not living right. You know what I'm saying? So there's this invitation for people to go through this transformation from dark into light. But the good news and the crazy news is he says, hey, congregation, you are salt. Your essence is light. You are created. And when you're created and when you're living in your essence and your identity, the way that he has designed you for, the first thing is it's going to taste good, but on top of it being taste good, that light's just going to emanate from you. You don't have to do anything. It's not your job to be like, how do I make myself brighter? No, it's how do I make myself closer to Jesus? And he'll shine brighter through you. Does that make sense? All right. The city on a hill is supposed to be a community of light. Right? We're supposed to help each other stay lit. There are times of my life where I've been in very Christian circles, right? And we're all pretty light and we feel like, yeah, we're doing great. But it's kind of a bubble, right? And one more candle in a room full of candles adds some light, right? But that's not what he designed us for. Now, there's going to be seasons where we need the refreshing. We need to be with each other. But even here, how many days a week are we at church? How many days are we with coworkers and loved ones and people that have got plenty of darkness around us, right? If it's 0 days that you're around darkness, you should probably consider that, right? Now, when I was younger, I had asked God, I'd been moved by this guy. You guys have heard some of these stories, so I apologize. You're going to hear some of it again. I've been moved by this guy who spent his last couple weeks of life literally telling stories while carving an elephant up in Copper Harbor for a bunch of preteens. This old dude who had gone on the mission field and had done all these things, had been shipwrecked and almost died and all these other stuff. And I remember saying, God, can you please, please, please send me to an island of darkness so I have to depend on you? Man, you pray dangerous prayers, you get opportunities to respond dangerously. Years later, found myself on an island of darkness where I had to just rely on him, right? I was up in the Bering Sea and there was darkness of every kind. Some good people up there, there's some hard things, right? And I remember up there that, man, the kids were throwing me through a gauntlet. I mean, they were just challenging. If I had the substance that they thought I might have, they had to test it. So don't be alarmed when the world wants to test your light, test your salt, test to see if your essence and substance is legit. But they were throwing me through this gauntlet. And when I was up there, I remember that I was watching this little candle. I was barely flickering, right? This little candle, and it was barely flickering. And I was crying because I was thinking about these kids that were lost, they were broken, they were hurt, they had no hope, they had all the things. And I was like, God, of all the places that I should be like this bonfire, I feel like this candle that's just barely lit. I am surrounded by darkness. He said, Benny, a little light in darkness sheds a lot of light. Man, may we have the grace to have some seasons of our lives where we feel the loneliness of being a singular light in darkness. It sheds a lot of light. But what you're going to find is you have to cling to the source. You have to cling to the one who provides the light in the first place. So, probably one of the hardest seasons of my life. Also probably one of the most intimate seasons of my life. Right? And I was up there and I was staring at it and it was like, okay, a little light in darkness sheds a lot of light. And he's like, I had to do the same. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he reminded me of Jesus at the Transfiguration. Don't worry, it's coming, Matthew. We'll get there in the next 5 years. Just kidding, kind of. The Transfiguration, I used to always think that the miracle was that he was shining in all of his brilliance, right? It's like the unmasking of the Son of God. And in that moment, I realized the miracle was the fact that he wasn't in that brilliance all the time. That if you go from complete darkness to complete light, you'll be blinded by the light and you will reject it immediately. The fact that Jesus came as lowly as he did, as outcast, had to leave to go to Egypt because there was a dude trying to literally kill him as a baby. Having his parents both being rejected by the external family, having to go through the whole system, and then being obscure and put down, and then having to go and learn how to be a stonemason. And he went through a lot of hard stuff, right? Here's the guy that Matthew says, this is the king of Israel. This is the guy that's supposed to be the king. Genealogy-wise, he comes from David. And yet he started with such lowliness. He had to literally walk it in the place where his light was just a flicker and then slowly increase it. And what we start seeing is as we're coming into Matthew, God is starting to reveal who he is. And it starts coming out of miracles. And people are seeing and they're drawn to the light, not because he's saying, hey, look at me, look at my kingdom, I'm salt and I'm light. It's because he's saying, I see you, and you need to know that God sees you. And God has made a way for you, and there's an invitation for you. I don't care how high you are, how low you are. I see your value. I see your value enough that I became a man to come show you your value. There's a verse that talks about the angels waiting for the sons of God to be revealed. I think all creation waits and groans for us as humans to realize who we were designed to be. If we knew who we were designed to be, that light would flow through us. The salt would flow through us. We would love our neighbors. It wouldn't be an obedience checklist to make sure that we're doing all the right things. It would look a lot like loving the least of these. It would look a lot like what you're doing in your ministry. I love what you've done. I love what you are doing, and even more, I love that God is doing it through you. Some reflections. 1, you are salt. Tell the person next to you, tell them, say, hey, you're salty. To be clear, your essence is salt. The person that heard that you are salty, if you're like, today I'm here and I don't feel super salty. I've made some compromises in my life. I've lived in some dirt. The good news is he's invited you to be immersed in his presence, that he's going to, hey, if you're willing to go on the journey, he's willing to take off the junk so that he can restore your saltiness. Okay, you're created in the image of God. Your essence is good. You are light. You are a symbol of God's faithfulness and everlasting covenant. You have value today. 2, you are light. When you're walking in your true identity, his light will shine through you to the world. Your light shines a path for everyone to find him. You have purpose. All right, tell the person next to you, you have value, you have purpose. Good, now I feel like a legitimate pastor. Do these things sometimes. 3, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility to let your light shine, to be visible, and to have your light point to him. We have a communal responsibility to choose light collectively, revealing his presence. And 4, as we let our lights shine, we invite others to find his divine spark and get lit too. Heavenly Father, I thank you that you are good. I thank you that you are faithful. God, I thank you that you have chosen salt to be a covenantal symbol, that it doesn't end, it doesn't lose its saltiness. It still has the possibility of being restored and redeemed to its intent, the purpose that you created us for. God, I'm thankful that even when we're not living in the purpose you created us for, you still find ways to use us and make good. But man, God, may we hunger and thirst enough to want to be used the way that you designed us, to want to become the way you designed us. God, give us the courage, and it really does take courage to actually understand that you've created us in your own image. God, that we are light bearers, that we are image bearers of the Creator. That you chose to use us in our humble state, even though we all fall short, we all walk into sin. God, I am thankful that you still say, I can redeem you, I can restore you, and it's my delight to redeem you. God, those that are here today that need some redemption, that need some restoring, Give them the courage to walk that journey. Give them the courage to tell somebody, hey, that's me. I need help getting redeemed. I need help letting go of shame or comparison, fear, anger, worry, anxiousness. God, those of us that are covering the light, the essence inside of us with our own ego, with our shame, with our comparison, with our worry about survival, with our material possessions, the things that we value over letting your light shine through us. Man, give us grace, give us mercy, give us the courage to come to you and let it all out, to give it to you. God, I ask that you would bless Yvonne and caring companions. God, I'm thankful that there are people today that are seen, that are heard, that know their value because she can see them. God, I'm thankful that she can see them because she looks at you and you've given her eyesight to see them. God, I ask that you would bless her ministry. God, may it honor your name. May it be multiplied. God, I ask that you would draw Cambodians to her that would gain the same heart. God, I ask that you would bring people that have the skills that those people need, whether it's chiropractors, occupational therapists, physical therapists, or just grandmas that can love a kid. And whatever it is, bring the people that you want to bring to connect your family up. God, we're thankful for the gospel of Matthew that said, hey, actually, those of you who have been told your whole life that you're out, I want to invite you in. So God, we ask that you give us the courage to accept the invitation into your heart, into your home. I ask this in your name, for your name. Amen. So what we're going to do now, we're just going to break up into group and pray with people. The goal is to be salt and light to each other here. Practice it here so that you can be salt and light to people that are out there. Because people out there, they need love too. So go ahead. You're dismissed.